everyone, Republic Jim here. I'm off work this week, so I actually have a little bit of spare time in between all the projects I'm doing. Been doing yard work most of the day, and now I'm just taking a bit of a break before the thunderstorm hits, and thought I'd shoot a quick video. First, I wanted to point out a new addition in my barn body gym, the Lion Rampant flag, otherwise known as the Scottish Royal flag. A friend who also happens to be a subscriber to the channel saw me in a kilt on one of my videos and asked me if I had Scottish ancestry, and when I said that I did, he was kind enough to bring this flag over for me. So hung it up in my gym for a little bit of extra inspiration when I'm working out, especially when the going gets tough. So just wanted to give a quick shout out for that. Thanks, Dan. I do appreciate it, and it'll be a regular fixture in my gym now. So anyway, that aside, what I wanted to talk about is a condition that has been causing me some discomfort recently. I've mentioned it in descriptions on a couple of videos where I was working out, and it's kind of changed the basic schedule I had for some of my workouts. I haven't actually gotten it diagnosed, I haven't gone to a doctor or anything, but just based on the symptoms and all the descriptions I've read, I think it's pretty safe to assume that it is plantar fasciitis, which is just where the fascia and the arch of the foot becomes inflamed, or because it's too tight or whatever, and that causes pretty intense pain at times in my heel, especially if I'm doing any sort of repetitive motion with any impact, such as running, unfortunately. So when that flared up, made it to where it's pretty much impossible to go out and do any road work, any distance. I have done a couple of sprint sessions, but I can't move nearly as quickly or smoothly as I would like, and anytime I do something like that, or even a longer session on my cross-country ski machine, then the next day it's quite painful, makes it really difficult to walk, especially when I first get up in the morning. And fortunately I have fairly high pain tolerance, so I just kind of grit my teeth and go about my business. But I'm trying to take it easy on it, and I'm not obviously doing any road work like I had intended to improve my conditioning, and can't really do burpees or jumps or things that put much impact on it. So I've had to sort of work around that and come up with other ways to try to get some conditioning work in. I've started doing more kettlebell swings, just because I can keep my feet planted in one place when I do that, and so I still get the conditioning work, but without the impact on my foot. And I got a better anti-fatigue mat for my standing desk at work, so that I have a little more cushioning there. But aside from that, I've done quite a bit of reading about it online, and all the recommendations for treating it. And one of the things that I see crop up over and over in comments is, whatever you do, avoid being barefoot. Wear a shoe with good arch support and that sort of thing. And before I go on, I should give a disclaimer here that I don't have any medical training or anything, and I'm not even pretending to give any advice. This is just my opinion and what I'm doing. So, don't listen to me for advice if you have any problems with plantar fasciitis. unless you just want to experiment and use it at your own risk. But like I said, I haven't gone to a doctor because, well, for one thing, there's not a whole lot they can do about it other than tell you to ice it and rest it and don't go barefoot and that sort of thing. You know, I can get that advice on the internet. I don't need to see a doctor. But also, you know, unfortunately, if the last couple of years have taught me anything, it's that an awful lot of doctors out there are just kind of highly educated idiots that parrot whatever they've been told from higher up. They just take a one-size-fits-all approach to medicine, just do everything by the book, and don't take into account the different circumstances of patients or their differing physiology or anything. You know, at one time, I think most doctors actually practiced medicine where they tried to individualize it for the patient and figure out what would work for them. But everything's just so much a cookie cutter approach these days, and many doctors have sold their souls to big pharma. So, you know, if it's not something that involves a prescription, they don't seem to be too interested. So anyway, that aside, you know, I have not felt any need to go to a doctor. I've just done my research on the internet and then just been experimenting with some of my own ideas. Now, I should point out that unlike a lot of people that possibly started having problems when they're doing distance running or when they're going barefoot, my situation is kind of reverse of that, in that I wasn't doing much distance running or any sort of impact stuff like that other than just short sprinting sessions in my workouts. And I frequently either went barefoot or wore minimalist shoes. I used to almost all the time wear very low, thin-soled shoes, you know, just the minimalist type, either barefoot type shoes or slip-on like kung fu slippers. And I was always very comfortable like that, never had any problem. Went through my whole life doing all sorts of activities and didn't bother me. But in the past year, the main thing that I know of that's changed is I started dressing a lot nicer at work. You know, I decided I just wanted to change, and so I started kind of upping my style a little bit and wearing a lot more dress shoes along with, you know, slacks and vests and hats and all this stuff that my coworkers are getting used to now. But after a while of doing that was when I really started seeing the symptoms with my foot. So from everything that I can figure of my actions, the only thing that really changed was wearing dress shoes very frequently. They tend to have a narrower toe box and are more restrictive and do have a hard arch support. And that, as far as I can tell, is the main thing that's caused the problem. Now, I don't intend to stop wearing dress shoes, so what I need to do is just train my feet to deal with that. You know, take it easy on the high impact activities like distance running and give it a chance for the inflammation to go down. But other than that, I've been going completely against the grain on the advice and going barefoot every chance I get. And like at work, even though I'm wearing dress shoes, when I'm in the office and don't expect to have to leave the office for a bit, and I just instantly pull my shoes off. And, you know, so I'm just constantly trying to get as much either barefoot or, you know, in my socks or whatever, but getting time like that, going out walking around when I'm working at home most of the time. I'm going barefoot, so I'm walking on gravel and uneven surfaces and spiky grass and whatever. And just as I've done in the past, training my feet to deal with the discomfort and trying to strengthen them. And one difference that I've tried to implement is frequently as I'm walking around, I consciously focus on sort of trying to grip the ground with my toes, you know, just like flexing them and digging in as I'm walking. And it's not something that comes natural. I have to be focusing on that and making a conscious effort. But my goal is to strengthen my feet and get them more adapted to that movement. And of course, I'm stretching, trying to loosen up my Achilles tendon, and sometimes I'll take a tennis ball and roll my foot, or I'll rub the arch and that sort of thing. Just anything I can do to work on stretching it and lengthening that fascia and taking some of the pressure off. But all in all, I think that some of the advice about it is good, but to my mind at least, and again, this is just entirely my opinion, not based on any medical knowledge, but to my mind, I think that this thing of never going barefoot and always wearing arch support and that sort of thing is just a way to mask the symptoms. It doesn't really solve anything. It's continuing to allow the feet to be weak and not provide the support themselves that they need to protect the arch. So, like I do with a lot of things, I think it's partly a matter of just toughening up the body and forcing it to adapt, and partly just the mental aspect. But I'm going to continue to do that, see how it goes, and hopefully it'll go away. But even if it continues long term, I figure that if the symptoms lessen a bit at least, then I'll try to throw in a little bit more conditioning, road work, probably more just weighted carries, rucking with the backpack and that sort of thing. Not so much with running right now. I might have to hold off for a fair amount of time before I go out and do much distance running, because there's no point being stupid about it. But I'm going to continue to find ways to work around that and try to get back to where I'm doing a lot more conditioning and at least getting my cardio work in and strengthening my legs and all of that. But I just know that some of the comments I made previously about my workout plan had to change a little bit because of this. But I'm not going to stop, and I'm not going to baby it too much. And we'll see just how well my aging body is able to adapt. And at some point I'll probably give an update. But in the meantime, that's where I'm at. Not likely to see me doing a whole lot of running or burpees or that sort of thing. But I'll still be doing some of my workout videos. And I have some other topics coming up soon that I plan to address, and some of which involves my comments about the medical profession. But I'm not sure I'll be able to post that on YouTube. They tend to kind of censor things that goes against a certain narrative, so I won't get too much into the weeds on YouTube, but I might have to do a separate video and just post that on Rumble and Odyssey. But that's about it for now. Just wanted to give an update and kind of describe what I'm dealing with that. And thanks again to Dan for the cool flag. And I'm going to get back to doing some other work, hopefully before start getting too much thunder. So this has been Republic Jim. I'll talk to you later.